why would a person who is in the gym almost every day of the week, sometimes twice in the same day, different gyms, but still a lot, why would I start using Retatrutide? Well, let me tell you about it. And before we go too far, again, this is just my personal story. It's not medical advice. As a matter of fact, not everything goes as nicely as we might like. So I got into CrossFit, seriously, in 2019 because I changed jobs and I started working from home. I could actually go to the gym. Um, and so I started, and it's taken over my life in some ways. And to this point that I'm now going to CrossFit 4 or 5 times during the week in the afternoon. And first thing in the morning, I leave the house like at 5:15 to go to a Gold's Gym. I call it a normie gym because that's what it is. Uh, and, I'm in there. I have an L1. I know what the nutrition is. I know what you're supposed to do in the kitchen. And if you want to lose weight, it has more to do with what you do in the kitchen than what you do in the gym. The gym makes it look good. The kitchen is where you get the fat off, actually. So what happened? Why did I make this choice to take and use a GLP-1? Well, as I'm sitting there working out and the weights are going up on the bar very nicely, I was very pleased. But same time, weight on the scale's going up. And I'd love to tell you that it was all muscle that I was adding, but no, it's not. And just, it's the way things are. And so, and sure, eat meat and vegetables, some nuts and fruit, blah, 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 no sugar. Right, whatever. I've got a sweet tooth as big as all Texas, and I'm really good in the kitchen. I know my way around. I know how to bake. I know how to make candy. I know how to run a smoker. I make good food. And so, it is what it is, but it's really annoying. And what the problem is I'm trying to actually lose weight, and specifically, I'm trying to recomp. It's not necessarily that I want the weight to go down, it's I want the fat to go away. I'd like to have one time in my life 6-pack abs. And what I was doing wasn't working. And, CrossFit and coaches can yell about discipline and all like that. If that actually worked, we wouldn't need GLP-1s. There wouldn't be a market for that stuff. You just, do the carnivore diet or eat paleo or whatever. All those diets, they didn't work. That's why in the West, we're in the situation we're in. So along comes the GLP-1s, and I was sitting there paying attention. I was thinking about it. And I was like, I'd set a goal, a point where it's like, if we get here, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Well, I watch a lot of YouTube. I use it for just about everything. Just had to change lights on my truck because one of the parking lights went out, and watched the YouTube video, went out and took care of it myself. And I saw this video. First one on Retatrutide that I saw was by Ryan Humston, I think. I'm probably butchering his last name. Sorry, bud. But he was talking about Retatrutide. And so I was like, holy shit, sounds awesome. And it's kind of interesting because semaglutide, which is Ozempic and Wegovy maybe, is just a GLP-1. It's just semaglutide, a peptide, that pretty much shuts down hunger. Cool. Well, then you have Tirzepatide, which is the GLP-1, and GIP, which has to do with insulin. I'm not an expert at this stuff, but I just know that there's 2 peptides in Tirzepatide that make it work even better than Ozempic and those other ones, which just have semaglutide. Well, Retatrutide shows up and says, hold my beer. We've got 3 peptides. And the third one here is glucagon, which goes to your liver and makes it better about mobilizing fat to help you, actually lose fat instead of go after your lean mass. So heard about this, and the place, and at the same time, I'm doing BPC 157 to take care of my knee, which at this point really isn't injured anymore. I'm pretty much in maintenance mode. I just go about business. But I do use it on a regular cycle. The place that I get my peptides from happens to have Retatrutide. We call it Ratatouille around the house. But they list Retatrutide in the catalog, so I was like, screw it, ordered it. Got a 10 milligram bottle and did my first shot first Sunday of August. And it did something I didn't even realize. I'd heard about it, but I didn't realize I did it. Heard people talk about that Ozempic and Tirzepatide shut down food noise. I didn't know what they were talking about until I used it. And I didn't realize that that was something that was going on. But looking back at it, I'd get craving for pizza. Pizza Hut, thin and crispy, pepperoni pizza, extra pepperoni. I'd get that craving, and the worst thing that could happen is Pizza Hut screws up the order. They don't cook it just right. That's the worst thing, because then the craving's even worse. Gone. While I'm taking it, which, yesterday, Sunday night, took my jab. No food noise. There's pictures on my Instagram of my sneaky nibbles. I'd grab Hostess cupcakes and shit. Yeah, I know. Dumbass. But no need now. I take that stuff and we're good to go. So we're here. It's November 10th, and I've lost 30 pounds. And it's great. We're very close to hitting, me getting to the weight that I want to hit. I'm 5 pounds away. And funny thing is, I did a DEXA scan. So at the beginning of the year, actually last December, I did a DEXA scan. It put me at 27% fat. Fat. We'll just call it fat. It's fat. I did a DEXA scan again. I was really thinking, because just, the way I'm looking, I was like, oh man, I got to be under 20% now. 23 freaking percent. So I'm kind of thinking, if I can get to 20%, I want 15. I think 15 is where I'll actually start to show a six pack, maybe. But I think if I get to 20, we'll be right there based on what I see now. But even so, unfortunately, that DEXA scan said I lost muscle mass, which I can tell you in the gym, I know it. My deadlift is down, my back squat is down, my shoulder press is down, and I'm rebuilding them. And it's okay, it's not a big deal, but that brings me into where we are now. So on top of, and it gets ridiculous, on top of the Retatrutide, we're using 3 other peptides also now. CJC 1295 and ipamorelin, ipamorelin, or however you want to say it. I have those 2 stacked, and then I also am using MOTS-C. Of those, I could do away with the HGH secretagogues, or whatever those guys are, the ipamorelin and the CJC. I'm sure they're great. The CJC I'm using is CJC plus DAC. I only have to jab it once. I have it split into 2 doses through the week. The ipamorelin I do morning and night, 4 days a week. But the MOTS-C, that one is wild. First week I used it, I was like, I don't know. But I went up in my dosage. Initially, I was doing about 2 milligrams a week. Now, or 2 milligrams per shot. Now I'm doing 3 milligrams a shot 3 times a week. It's amazing. So, one, Retatrutide, I'm an absolute fan. It's more than just a weight loss drug. It's ADHD medication. My impulsivity, like what I just did to you, of totally jumping rails, is much more controlled. And the food noises are gone. The MOTS-C is, it's energy. That's the only way I can describe it. In a Metcon, I'm sitting there working out, and yeah, I can feel that I'm working out, but I still have energy, and I can just keep pushing. I can keep going. Yeah, I feel it, yeah, the weights are heavy, but I can still go. It's it's the same thing if you don't know that you have food noises and you're having trouble. If you take one of these GLP-1s, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's like being in a really noisy room and then you walk into a quiet room. That's what the Retatrutide has done. The MOTS-C, it's energy. I don't know how else to put it. So where am I going to go? So this is actually, I'm doing 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off with these other peptides. The Retatrutide I'm also going to take and taper off to Christmas, just to take a break from it, because one of the things that I learned is I'm only doing 2 milligrams a week, which there's some dude on here who just screams about people microdosing, and I suppose I count as microdosing. It works. I'm losing weight. Problem is I also lost some muscle. I think had I gone all the way up to 4 milligrams as they did in the study, they actually went much higher. But if I just gone to 4 milligrams, that's where they say the glucagon really kicks in and is really able to do its job. That may have done a better job of preserving the muscle. The reason for the CJC and ipamorelin is they help push IGF-1, which tells your body to repair and build muscle. It's not anabolic really, but it will help protect me against my screw up. If you are thinking about doing this, find a doctor like the Cell Spa, or there's plenty of doctors out there who are doing peptides now. They're not that hard to find. Talk to them, get the dosing done right, and don't DIY this stuff all on your own. I did a lot of research and I knew about going up, but the reason I didn't go up is, from what I can tell, a lot of these, when you see the amount of Tirzepatide people are shooting and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, no kidding, you're going to have side effects. Just so doing the MOTS-C, shooting 3 milligrams at once, for me, I get site reactions sometimes because that's a lot of stuff to push in you. On an insulin needle, the insulin needle can do 2.5 milligrams. Is that right? Yeah, 2.5 milligrams. It's 50 units. Okay, so sorry, man, we're all over the place. I understand. But when I reconstitute, I push 2 milliliters into the vial, which means when I draw out, every 10 units is a 0.5 milligram. Is that right? Yeah. No, yeah, 10 units is a 0.5 milligram. So, so what I'm telling you is, reconstituted that with the formula I use, you can get 2.5 milligrams. That's a lot of fluid to push into your body, and it's gonna cause stuff. So anyway, we'll talk more about this. Like I've said, I'm not doing a peptide channel. This is about technology, and what's higher tech than freaking using peptides? Other stuff I'm pushing out, I'm talking about AI now. I'm still a software developer. That's my day job. I'm an SRE, and that's the content. All of this is the content I'm going to talk about. Freaking YouTube algorithm's going to hate me, but I'll live with it. Hopefully you're interested and you're down for it. So please join me, and I'll wish you a good evening, and I'll see you next time.